Everybody, it's your girl Kimberly J, and I just wanted to check in, and I wanted to talk a bit today about accountability and responsibility. Something that I've been having some conversations with friends lately about, and just something I've just been thinking about. Um, I just want to throw this out there. I think nowadays we have we as humans, we tend to have very accusatory kind of attitudes. And what I mean by that is we are so quick to point the finger of blame at everybody without looking at ourselves. Every time something bad happens to us, it's somebody else's fault. It's we never look at ourselves. We never have responsibility in the situation, and it's something that even personally. So it's kind of like I'm not just speaking to you. I'm speaking from a place of experience, and I had to just kind of look at things and look at a lot of situations that I've gone through in my life, and just reevaluate instead of saying, okay, this happened to me, or this person did this or did that. Um, I had to ask myself, what role either did I play or could I have played, um, or where is my accountability in the situation? Okay, so right now I'm just talking about specifically from an aspect of choices. I'm not talking about some situation you did not choose or some life circumstance that kind of happened that really you had no control or no hand in it getting to that point. I'm talking about strictly our choices, whether it be our decision to on who we date or who we marry, or our decisions um, to go somewhere and not go somewhere, like whatever the choice is, something that we specifically choose. Okay, remember this: whatever your choice is, nobody forced you to do it. If it was a choice, it's something that you wanted to do. So number one, I say don't have regrets. I think that's the first thing, and it's just human nature. When we go through a bad situation, or we're in a situation where something doesn't work out, or it doesn't happen the way we expected it to, the first thing we want to do is either blame the other person or blame the situation, um, or we want to talk about how much we regret it. I wish I had never done this. I wish I had never met this person. I wish I would never have gone here or gone there. Well, don't have regrets. Because I think if it's something that you wanted at one point in your life, you never know unless you try. Try to figure out what you can learn from the experience. Try to figure out what did that situation come into my life to teach me. Because there is a lesson in everything we go through, good and bad. I really truly believe there's something you can learn. But I think a lot of times we miss the lesson. We go through the situation, we can totally miss out on what the point was, and we get caught up and hung up on other things that really had nothing to do with why it came there in the first place. So I think when we're looking and evaluating our lives and different situations, the first thing we need to do is understand purpose. Figure out the purpose. What was the purpose of that thing or that person in my life? What did it come to teach me about myself, or what did it come to teach me about them? What life lesson should I be learning? I think that's what we should be approaching. Let's not get caught up on, I wish I never did this, because nobody can go back in time. We can't go turn the clock back and change decisions we've made. I'm sure sometimes we may want to, but when it's done, it's done, you know. So let's just be more accountable, guys. Let's just start checking ourselves. Let's figure out, and as perfect as you may think you are, I guarantee if you just be honest with yourself, you can figure out something that either you did or something that you put out there. Um, there's something inside somewhere that will help you get the answer as to why a situation came. I think if sometimes if our self-esteem is not where it needs to be, we will make a lot of bad choices, or we will draw in that energy. It's like a magnet. If you don't feel like you're worthy of something great, or you feel badly about yourself, you're going to tend to attract yourself or attract to you situations and circumstances and people that are going to basically confirm what you already feel about yourself. If you don't feel like you're worthy of love, you're not going to attract people that are going to genuinely love you. It's just like whatever you put out there in the atmosphere, it's going to come back. Whether you speak in negativity or you're speaking death to yourself, you're going to attract that. If you put out positivity and life, you're going to attract that. It's not to say you're never going to go through anything or experience anything bad. If you do, have a positive, more uplifting attitude and project those things into the atmosphere. But I'm just saying, generally speaking, you're going to kind of like you get out what you put in. Well, you get back what you put out. So, and then if it's not the case, sometimes it really is just a test. You got to put it in perspective. God tests us. Sometimes life just, we go through different things. Sometimes God want to see what you're made of. Sometimes God will allow the enemy to send you through tests to prove, to either build you up or to bring something out of you that you otherwise would not have accomplished. So I think it's time sometimes that we embrace our trials. I know that is a hard thing to do because, let's be honest, nobody wants to go through anything. Who does? If they had a class right now and said, everybody sign up, you want to suffer, that'd be an empty class because I don't know anybody, truthfully, in their heart of hearts, that wants to suffer. I don't know anybody, and I'm included in that. But what we have to do is just, like I said, just start being more accountable for our own decisions. And let me say this too. So this is something that I see, I've observed, and I've heard many, many times. When we start going through things, we start having a lot of trials and tribulations in our life, typically a series of things. It could be one thing after another. I've heard a lot of us just start to blame God. We start to hold God personally responsible for our circumstances. We start to feel as though, well, God, why did you let this happen to me? I'm a good person, and why did this happen? And why am I going through this? I don't understand. We get upset and mad at God. But if we were to check the circumstances, it had nothing to do with God. It's just like if I go out right now and rob a bank, and I get arrested and go to jail, and they give me 15 years or however much time it is, that's like me sitting in jail crying and blaming God. Oh my God, why did you let this happen to me? You knew I was broke. I was just trying to get some money because I didn't have this and I didn't have that. No, that's not God's fault. That's my fault because I chose to go out and rob a bank. I broke the law. So there are consequences. And if we would just keep in mind that in life, there are consequences to our actions. And if you want to put this in the spiritual sense, as Christians, we know what God wants of us. We know his expectations. We know his requirements. We know what the word says about what we should and should not be doing. Well, if we decide to step out there and go against God's principles, and we do things in our life and make choices outside of his will, well, when whatever happens to you, let's not blame God because it's not his fault. That's a personal choice we made. So some stuff we just have to suck it up and say, hey, yeah, I did mess up, so I'm going to have to go through this, but, God, forgive me, or, God, I repent. I'm turning away from my sin, and I'm going to go forward from this point on. But let's keep it balanced, guys. Hey, we so good till we get ourselves in these jams, and then we cry and we say, Lord, please deliver me. And God's not a genie. God's not a wish master. He's God. And, we put ourselves in these situations. Sometimes you just have to suffer through because of choices that we make. So I think we need to consider all those things in our personal life. That's why choices are so important, because you can make a choice that can impact your life well beyond the initial moments, well beyond, the right now. Some choices can impact the rest of your life. And I think we need to be more cautious and mindful of that when we're making choices in our lives. And like I said, just check yourself. Let's be accountable to ourselves. Let's figure out what we can learn from a situation and stop looking at all the negatives. Like I said, it's something I too even have to deal with, but it's just a part of life. So if we say we believe in God, let's believe him. Let's try to trust him to make the right decisions for us. So that is basically my little spill on accountability and responsibility. I love to hear your feedback. I love to see what you guys think about this, because I think it's time, it just really is time that we just start being honest with ourselves. You know, you can be a great person, and sometimes you may not do anything. Sometimes everything that happens to you is not some punishment. Every negative thing is not a direct result or product of either a choice you made or, but we know what the difference is. We know when it's something we've done, and we made choices and we're just dealing with the consequences. But then, like I said, there are some times where you just have to go through. God is testing you for some different reason, or God is allowing the enemy to, put a situation in your life to see what your response is going to be, to see if you're strong, or see if you can handle it, or to bring something out of you. But let's try to use our opportunities of trials and tribulations as basically as opportunities to get stronger, to get better, to become wiser, to be a better you. I know that's hard to do, but we can try together. So I think that's about it, guys. Like I said, I love to hear from you guys, so feel free to leave your comments and let me know what you think. Alrighty, that's it. Bye.